Hello. This is the premiere of my very first live broadcasting session on YouTube, so do forgive me if there are any glitches. To introduce myself first and foremost, my name is Sarah Geiger. I'm a communication performance consultant, opera singer, and speech pathologist who's very passionate at working to give strategies and advice for corporate communication for executives, emerging leaders, and anyone who wants to up-level their corporate communication skills. So if you're interested in improving your speaking skills and professional polish, this is hopefully the place for you to be, so make sure you subscribe. Today, I want to talk about a really important topic that's critical for your professional impression management at work, which is a key ingredient if you're vying for a leadership position. And today we're going to talk through some science-backed tactics to assist you to better deal with difficult and challenging conversations while still retaining your executive presence. So let's get into it. All right. You're human if you ever had a difficult conversation. Difficult conversations go down all the time at work, and it's how we handle them that will determine our professional skills. It will also shape the degree to which we can demonstrate social agility, self-control, and personal branding in the workplace. And these are the things that people will give us points for. So it's not all about us. Obviously, our reputation is at stake, but also the way we treat others and interact with others at the global scale, in our home, in the office, that really does determine the quality of the world that we're in. So hopefully these principles that I'll share with you today will help you in all areas of your life, but I want you to particularly plug and play them for the office, the corporate setting, and your bids at gaining that role of your dreams. So when it comes to difficult conversations in the workplace, one of the things that I see many people struggling with, and actually I have to say in all honesty, what I know can be a really solid challenge, is coping with the anxiety levels that naturally rise as a physiological reaction to stress and stressful conversations. But my first strategy for you is this reminder: don't get blindsided by your reactions, especially your emotional reactions. When we go to work, we do take our personalities with us, but our expertise and our skills and our ability to manage conflict, those types of capacities involve a lot more than your personality. They involve tactical, intentional behaviors, and it might seem a little bit inauthentic to show up at work and use strategy, but when you're solving a work-related problem that requires your technical skill, you'll use strategy. So shouldn't you also use strategy for those high, stressful, emotion-fueled conversations? You want to step outside of the personality-based reaction, which can have some pros for your performance and also some negatives, because when we rely solely on our personality, we're relying on our habitual behaviors. And for professional polish, you need to be a lot more intentional than that. You can still be authentic, but you definitely need to be intentional. So the next strategy that I would recommend you considering is to see that moments of speaking stress, they present themselves as opportunities to embrace and learn about a new speaking skill zone. So if you're going to the office and you're experiencing increased performance pressure, high cortisol levels, and stressful conversations, instead of letting your emotional reaction and those feelings of discomfort, which are totally natural, sabotage your performance, see that this is a critical zone where learning can be gained. You can learn and achieve a lot that will definitely set you up for future conversations that could take a similar tone in their challenges. So see it as something positive. We don't want to have the same conversations day in and day out. And sure, it's nice to have positive conversations with our colleagues, our boss, our stakeholders, but it's in those critical zones when there's a lot at stake, risks and emotions are high, that we can actually clarify our professional polish and learn tools to present in a more effective manner. So the next thing to consider is, what strategies can you use and what should you be aiming for in the difficult conversations? So my first recommendation for you is that you strive to learn science-backed approaches to managing your emotions. There is research behind emotional self-regulation in high-stress situations. And, you know, my question would be, do you actually go to work if you don't deal with stressful situations? Work is full of them. There's no way to control the personalities we're dealing with. We don't always get to choose who our colleagues are, who our clients are at times. We don't always have a choice. And there is absolutely no way we can avoid crossing paths with fractious, difficult people who have a totally different approach, different value system, and different motives from us. We all go to work with motives. Most of them are self-serving. Many people go to work to get paid, to advance their careers, to do things they enjoy, and some of those things are not necessarily related to self-seeking behaviors, but you know, I'm living my life as myself. So there will be moments where my communication, my interactions, my needs and my goals are naturally self-serving. So what you want to do is attain skills that up-level your social intelligence. Unfortunately, many leadership development programs and organizations, you know, they're doing their best to upskill the IQ quotient for emotional processing, but a lot of people are not realizing that there's just a ton of research-based strategies for this area. And that's one reason why I dedicated over 9 months to researching for my signature program called the C-Suite, which provides a total fix for your career communication. And although I'm a voice consultant, an opera singer, a speech pathologist, and you know, obviously I want to talk about sound and how to have conversations, I really had to dedicate an entire module to social intelligence. And so what would you be looking at if you're considering how can you regulate your emotions using proven emotional intelligence approaches? Well, you'd want to understand and have the tools to plug and play how to set up assertive conversations that maintain rapport, how to answer difficult questions that might challenge your feelings of worth, what to do in settings where someone's questioning the expertise, the skill, the value that you're bringing to the company, how to handle personalities that you feel like you have nothing in common with ethically. These are social intelligence skills that we just can't rely solely on our personality and our workplace expertise for. We have to be intentional in how we show up, present, and respond to situations at work that raise our emotions. And the best approach for that is social intelligence tactics. Okay, what else is there to do? Well, the other thing that we can look into, let me just grab that one for you, is, wait, I've lost my icon. No, we don't want that one. Bear with me, let me just find it. It doesn't seem to be coming up on the screen. Well, I'm going to talk about it anyway, irrespective of whether I can find it or not. I think I've got it. There it is, and it's my favorite. This strategy is mastering the ability to calibrate your voice tone when you're faced with stress. The hard truth is this: your body response can override your cognitive planned response, and as a result you'll react, as we mentioned. But the reaction doesn't just occur at the word level in terms of you saying something that you might later regret, or not finding the words you need to best address the drama that's going down. It can also happen at the physiological level. And one of the core things that can get triggered and tripped up is your voice tone, because the stress system does deal with the seat of control and self-regulation with reference to our breathing, our salivation, our posture, our body language cues. And a sole critical area that you would be well suited to investing time in if you're having lots of difficult environments and conversation partners and contexts that you're having to face on a daily basis in the workplace, is the ability to understand the exact techniques to calibrate the best possible voice tone. And when we talk about voice tone and the best possible form of it, what we're referring to is a resonant, clean and clear sound that research shows our listeners perceive as confident, engaged, positive, nice to listen to. And there's lots of vocal biases that exist, and that we could say, it's not really fair that I have to sound clean and clear and confident. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to invest in your professional reputation management and your personal brand in the workplace to up-level the degree to which you showcase your leadership potential, you must not neglect knowledge about how to plan, prepare, and produce optimal voice tone. And the ironic thing is that once you know how to position your sound well by applying science-backed therapeutic exercises for the voice and learning various features that characterize confident voice according to the speech melody and the intonation, something that I also train my clients in heavily because it's so important. Once you know how to deploy these techniques, the irony is you'll actually feel confident, because when we hear ourselves sounding hesitant with lots of fillers, vocal tone qualities that don't really sound very like I really value my self-worth, like this kind of vocal fry that I just demonstrated for you, when we hear ourselves sounding less confident, our language, our physical presentation, and our view of ourselves actually does reduce. There's also research on that. So it's really important to understand how to get your voice functioning so that you can eliminate any suboptimal behaviors that we know from research will skew credibility, trustworthiness, executive presence, and gravitas against your favor. Okay, what else is there? Well, the final one, I mean, obviously there's so many things, and that's why I have blogs and content and, loads of ideas to share with you over on my other interfaces like Instagram, Facebook, and on the email list if you're a subscriber. But, the last one that I was thinking about today that I think is really important to share with you is, what do we do when we're in the rabbit in the headlights moment, when we can't find the precise words we need to position our response as best as possible? And just like the other 3 tactics that we've covered today, my advice is, don't rely on your personality. Look, we all have great personalities, I'm sure, but personality and habit alone is not sufficient to position yourself with the executive presence and leadership presence that you require, so that the people around you see that you're capable of putting out fires, managing conflicts, and responding with social agility to difficult processes and problems that come on your table. So there are strategies and tools that we find from the research that charismatic communicators and, optimal leaders are using in terms of the manner in which they structure their message to amplify clarity, conciseness, and logical flow. So you want to be across the ability to present your message, no matter your conversation partner, no matter the topic, with good structure. And that is a trainable skill. So if you're feeling like you're the kind of person who just can't get your thoughts out when you're anxious, do not give up. See that as a strategy growth zone that you can definitely invest some time, some training, and practice into to get the gains that you're looking for. Okay, so at this point, you're probably sitting here, maybe, I don't want to assume, but perhaps you're sitting here and you're wondering, Sarah, I would love to know, what is it that my communication needs? Maybe you're looking for amplifying your professional polish in the workplace just to feel more confident, to feel more comfortable. And if you're in that position where you can't put your finger on precisely what it is that you're speaking and your interpersonal skills need for your career path or your current role, or to deal with the contacts that you're dealing with on a daily basis, I would strongly recommend getting a thorough assessment into your current speaking toolkit so that you know the areas that have growth potential. And today I wanted to let you know that my most popular service has just opened up again. So for over a decade, I've been working with clients in the corporate sector, mostly executives and CEOs, but not just LinkedIn influencer types. I've been working with loads of people over the past decade from all walks of life, industries and language backgrounds to determine and help them discover the single most important thing that they need to improve their professional polish for the workplace. And I want to let you know that the high performance communication audit that I developed years back, which was running and, so many people signed up for it. I hit pause actually last year on the service in order to complete my PhD thesis and also to do some course building for the C-Suite communication program. And just last week, I've opened it up again. I've rebranded it. I've made it bigger and better. And what it involves is a chance for you to submit some recording tasks, a really comprehensive opportunity for you to share with me aspects of your speaking in a manner that actually kind of sets you up into a performance pressure environment, so that while you're communicating in the assessment, I can actually analyze those recordings and the activities that you do for me in the task list for the assessment and really pinpoint exactly what it is that your speaking needs and give you some strategic recommendations in a follow-up strategy feedback call. So if that's something that interests you, don't hesitate to head to the link in the comments below. You can find all the details about it. If it's not there now, bear with me. This is my first live broadcast. I do not have a script. And if there's been a few glitches with the overlays, sorry, I think I blocked my face. And many other things. But if you're wanting more info, you can also head to the website. Just click in the menu, work with me, and you can find all the details on my high performance communication audit. As far as I know, I think it's pretty much one of the very few research-informed speaking assessments for the corporate setting. So I think you'll really enjoy it. You'll learn a lot about yourself. And the way I deliver the feedback sessions for all of my clients is to always occupy an action-based and strength-focused approach, because the last thing we need you to feel at the end of a comprehensive speaking audit is that there's hundreds of things going wrong. There won't be. There'll be one core thing that will be probably the turning point for your speaking that you could really invest some strategies and growth into. So I hope that you've enjoyed this live stream. I have for a long time been wanting to just pop onto this channel and have a natural conversation that really just gets info that I'm very passionate about talking about, how in terms to grow your communication, sharing strategies with you in a direct manner that feels human, that feels like you're in the room with me, no matter where you live in the world and no matter what you're doing. And I always have felt I love working in a manner where I will film and edit and tweak the video later, but I really am craving the ability to share with my community and feel so honored that you're following me or subscribing. And if you haven't already, feel free to do so. But really just wanted a nice way to just jump on this stream and share strategies with you and speak as I do, so that you feel like you really are just sitting with me and having some an info-driven session all about speaking that's science-backed and gives you some new ideas, because I'm of the view that if we increase everyone's speaking comfort and speaking confidence in the workplace in a manner that's socially intelligent, we can reduce the levels of toxic communication and low staff engagement. And that's a really core goal of mine, is that people have access to information to feel comfortable at work, because we spend so long at work. What a shame if we don't feel comfy. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Do let me know if you like this format in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. It's obviously really different from the other content, but I have to say I've had more fun, I think. And have a lovely day. Hope you've enjoyed it. And thanks so much for tuning in, and ciao for now. Bye.